Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School, and I came back out here today real quick because I wanted to kind of take another bite at the apple on this shadow board, and I wanted to show you a simpler way of using it, or maybe an easier way of explaining it that might make you understand how valuable of a tool it is for finding general direction, if nothing else. And when I say general direction, I mean a lot more accurate general direction than you can just find on your own. A shadow stick in the ground, as we talked about before, is something you need to track, or you can put a stick in the ground and look at the shadow, or you are a shadow stick and you can stand up and look at your shadow, or you can look at the sun in its arc in the sky, and you can guesstimate that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and so you could look at this and point your arms out and say, okay, that's north. But how north is it? Is it more northeast, or is it more northwest, or is it really north? And if I really want to travel in a good cardinal direction, then I need to be a little bit more accurate than that. And this will allow you to do that. And it doesn't have to be on some piece of wood. It can be on the back of a notebook. This is just a circle around a cup from my cup and bottle set with a marker with the same things drawn on the circle and a hole drilled through the notebook. I can do that and just carry this with me all the time like I already am, and use a stick for my gnomon if I need to track the sun's movement to let me know what direction I'm going. The other thing with this is it can be done with intermittent sun like we have today, where the sun's only out for a few minutes. This will still give you a good accurate direction, and it even works in low sunlight. So let's talk about that real quick, because I want to show you a couple things on this board. Okay, first things first. The only information that we really need to make this work is we need to understand what time the sun comes up and what time the sun comes down for the location that we're operating in for the time of year it is. And I know in Ohio, this time of year, the sun comes up about 7:30, goes down about 7:30. Half an hour of leeway there because it might be 7:15, 7:18, 7:20, whatever the case may be. But I've got that half an hour leeway. Now, I just need to understand that if I count hands up during the AM and down during the PM, I can guesstimate how long the sun's been up. So if I look at the horizon and I count hands, and 4 fingers being 1 hour, each finger being 15 minutes to estimate time or daylight, I can go 1, 2, and 2 more fingers. So that means the sun's been up approximately 2.5 hours. That's all I need to know to make this system work in less than 30 seconds. So let's look at this board really fast, all right? All I've done is I have drawn my circle, bisected a few lines, which I can do that or not do that if I just want to use it for simple direction finding, and knowing that the top of my board is going to be 12 o'clock or north. Let's remember that we're tracking time. We're not tracking magnetic direction or the North Pole or anything else. We're tracking the sun to tell us what time it is. Now, what I've done is I've put a 6 here and a 6 here, saying that there's 12 hours of daylight on the horizon line. From the one horizon to the other, there's 12 hours of daylight. We may not see it when it comes up here because it may be later when it comes up and we see it. So we need to be able to infer that. So knowing that, when this line is touching here, when the sun comes up in the morning, it's going to be about 7 or 7:30. So if I know that the sun's been up for 2 hours, all I have to do is move the shadow on this board, and I can still see the shadow even though the sun's going in right now. 1.5 hours, and I would say that that is north. And that took that much time to figure that out, even in low sunlight, because I can still see the shadow. Now, we'll compare that with a compass only because we want to know if the general direction is right. It's never going to match our compass. So if we lay our compass on the board, our north line is right here, and our north line that we guesstimated is right here. They're almost identical. Now, had we just come out here and said, okay, well, the sun's right here, and so that's an east-west line, that's northerly, and I'd have turned this board to that direction, look how far off I would have been at guessing a north direction when north was actually over here. I would have been traveling very far northeast. I would not have been traveling a north line at all. I would have been traveling northerly, but it would have been very northerly. Northeasterly would be more like it. So what I have to do is I have to understand that and realize that if I want to travel a fairly correct cardinal direction, I need something better than just a quick eye line of things to get that to happen. And making inferences of time is an easy way to do that. And with this shadow board, which again I say doesn't have to be on some piece of plywood or board like this that I've made for demonstration. It could be on the back of a notebook. It could be on a piece of wood that you find or a piece of paper that you find. It just needs to be something that you can lay flat, that you can put a gnomon in that will cast a shadow across that arc, and you know that the sun's going to travel across this arc during the day and into the night. So all you have to do is be able to infer what time of day it is, or how many hours the sun has been up, or how many hours until it goes down. That's the most simplistic part of it, is that I really don't need to know what time it is. I just need to know about what time the sun rises in my area and how many hours the sun's been up, or when the sun's going to go down in my area and how many hours it is till sundown. And I count hands up in the AM and I count hands down in the PM. And most of us are cognizant enough to understand whether it's afternoon or morning. And if it's around that zenith hour, you know, between 11 and 1ish, where that sun's just right there, we're not sure if it's quite noon or not yet, you may be a little further off when you do your guesstimation, but when you turn this board, you're going to get a fairly direct line shadow to north, because your sun's going to be right behind this gnomon, and you're going to get that southing of the sun. So you're still going to be really, really close, even if you're off 15 degrees either way, which the sun moves 15 degrees every hour. So you have a 30-degree arc there. You may be 15 degrees off this way, 15 degrees off this way, but you're surely not going to be off as far as you would if you had just done this and turned this board, which now you're like almost 15, 30, 45 degrees off of your travel route. Instead, you'd only be about 15 degrees off if you were during that southing area when you're not sure if it's before noon or afternoon. But if you know it's morning or you know it's afternoon, this thing is deadly accurate. And again, it doesn't have to be on a board. It can be on the back of a notebook that you're carrying with you, drawn on a piece of paper and put on the ground. Anything that you can scratch on, you can make this on, and it will be very, very accurate for you. Well, guys, I appreciate you joining me today for another instructional tutorial on the shadow board. I hope that was less confusing than the first three. I've been using this system now for a good while. I developed it before last winter, and it's just about to become winter again. So it's been almost a year ago that I developed this system. It's a very, very worthwhile system to understand. It is absolutely the quickest and most accurate way I've found to find a very close cardinal direction other than a compass. And it's something that you can carry with you all the time, or that you can make on the fly very, very easily. I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, affiliates, instructors, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks.